All right. We've been dealing with change. Okay? We've been dealing with change, and we began to talk about that our goal in this seminar is converting the invisible to the physical. And most of us, we start there because that is the realm that God has called the church to. He has called us to bring forth the kingdom of God on earth as it is in heaven. In physics, they call it a parallel universe. In other words, that Matthew 6, that there is a transfer from Ephesians 1, all things have been completed in eternity, that we're to bring this eternal finished work of God on earth from heaven to this place called earth. And so the disciples said, teach us how to pray. And they said, our Father who art in heaven, this place of what we can't see on the outside, let's say, bring on earth what is, present tense, on earth as it is in heaven. And so our journey is to bring forth what God has already completed in heaven and to bring it forth on this earthly realm. So I want to just begin to talk about how we begin to accomplish that journey of bringing forth Luke 17, 20, 21, this kingdom that you and I have been assigned as disciples of, or students, or trained learners, or followers of Christ. Our assignment is to bring forth the invisible to the physical. Can we all basically agree that that is the realm in which we hold more real this kingdom than we do the earth? Yes or no, church? So if God's word says something is true and we don't see it with our eyes, which one is more real? What we see on the outside with our eyes or what God's word says? So in other words, we believe in the invisible, what God says, his word, more than we believe in even our own senses. Because remember, the senses, this journey began with man's fall from state. I think we better go back and do some basics here. That it began from man's fall from his state of order. It began in Genesis 2. In Genesis 2, remember that our relationship with God was from the inside out. Yes, James, Pastor James? That whatever God said, man tended on the outside to do. He tended the finished work of God. And so God would speak, man would kichi, man would see it and therefore do it, and it became a truth or reality. Now, let me go back to you, George. You've heard this before. If I say table, what color is it? Black. So you saw a black table. Willie, I say chair, how tall is the back? And so I gave you a word, but you were able to convert those words into inward perceptions. So Willie, would you draw a chair on the board for a moment, please? Now remember, we're talking about bringing the invisible to the physical. What did I give Willie right at this point? Have I given him anything physical? I have given him my what? And now he was able to see what I said. And now I'm asking him to draw into this dimensional realm, Habakkuk 2, write the vision that others could now build it and follow after it, correct? So in other words, everything in this room, from the carpet to the podium to the chair I sit today, was first where? It was in the mind of its creator. So it started in the invisible, in this kingdom, and they birthed it into the physical. Is that basically simple enough? So if one can see it on the inside, they have the capacity to do exactly what Willie did and do it on the outside. Now, if we can hold on to that point, that we're saying everything in this three-dimensional world we live in, called home and cars, visions and dreams, it started with the inside to someone who believed it enough that to take it by force with all of the logismes, with all of the challenges, with all of the failures, with everything that came to stop the Wright brothers, everything that came against them, they stuck with it, and now we fly in airplanes. Because they had a vision on the and believed it enough, taking it by force to birth it on the. And so for the church to be developed, someone has to see it, first of all, on the, and have the courage to push it to the. And so everything that exists starts with the inside out. That if you don't fight for it on the outside, even though you have it on the inside, you'll be no earthly good. Are we clear? So many of us are rich on the, and church, we're filled with word on the, but signs and wonders on the outside are not following. And so our goal this seminar is to put on the, what God has already finished in you on the table. What color is it? You heard the word, you hearkening. Look at his eyes. Is he listening to me? Is he hearkening diligently to me? So I have now been able to Twitter you. Even at a long distance, I can say to you, draw a wheel, a wheel, a wheel. Ooh, good. See you, boy. Going. All right. He's got his wheel there. So even at a far distance, he was able to hear. We're on the same wavelength. You can hearken diligently that you heard, that now you are able to see, therefore you can do. Deuteronomy 28 tells us that this journey of the kingdom begins with hearing it, so that you might be able to see it on the inside, hear it, see it, that you now can be able to do it on the outside, and blessings will what? Overtake us. Now our journey is, there is unbelief. There is unbelief in the church, in us, that if God said it, we can do it and help our unbelief. Are we there? But everything that exists came from belief. Are y'all there? So our real root problem is we have a challenge with belief. We have to challenge, do we really believe God said it? Or was it a logisme? Was that really God that said it? Or was it my own emotions and lust and desires of my flesh? And can God deliver? Oh, yeah, I know we hear our word, yes, he can. Yes, he can, but we will know, yes, he can, by the fruit. And so if you aren't presenting fruit for you, no, he can't. Are we there? We've got some work to do. And so I'm saying that we could preach the word all along and you could be stored up with knowledge. Thank you very much, Willie. And so our problem is Genesis 2. Man believed, and so he was in a state of wholeness. We're told in Genesis 2, come on back now, come on back, that there was no sickness, no disease, no lack of any sort. Yes? There was not even death. In essence, entropy had not entered. Entropy is another word in physics of saying coming from, is a state of measurement of fall from order. It's a measurement how far we have fallen from wholeness. We call it sin. The measurement of our fall from our order. Are we there? Come on. And if we don't get to the root of this thing, we can only be as strong as our weakest constraint. We can continue to teach and preach, but if we don't believe, that is a cardinal challenge in the breach of our capacity, church, to produce. Now, there is let's talk knowledge. Knowledge is simple awareness. There's a tree there. Look, turn around. There's a tree there. I want y'all to see what I see. There's a tree there. That's knowledge. That's what we go to college to achieve, knowledge. I deal with college engineers and people coming out of school in our businesses. But there's something wrong with knowledge because most of our young people don't know what to do with it. It's just knowledge that doesn't help me in my business, and they haven't the ability to cross-apply it into understanding. Listen to what I'm saying now. Understanding is saying there's a tree and it has apples on it, and that apples can bring life to you. There's apples on that tree. Now, you heard the word, that's understanding. You could go out and preach. There's a tree with apples, and it will save your life. That has been what we have as church been doing well. We have knowledge and understanding, and that we can preach it. But the problem that begins to tear at us, leaders, and what the world is saying now that you can preach it, can you do it? If it works, then show me it works with you. Confirm the word with signs and wonders following. Are y'all there with me? That's called wisdom. Wisdom is the ability to not only see it, not only teach it and direct other people to it, but for us to be able to consume it, that it works for us too and brings us life. It becomes our core value. Are y'all there? And that's where many of us are suffering. And the legismes attack us in our core values because we want to believe, but help our what? Unbelief, the weak paper link, because we don't see the manifestation. So wisdom. Now, as long as a carrot is in my mouth, it is still a carrot called knowledge. You got a carrot in your mouth. As long as it's in my mouth, it is still a what? I can chew the carrot and it becomes masticated carrot called understanding. I can meditate. But is it still carrot? But once I swallow the carrot and it becomes biogenetically intertwined with my biological system of digestion, is it still carrot or is it now me? Did you hear my question? If it swallowed it and it now gets into my bloodstream and it becomes a part of my digestive cellular structure, is it carrot that now improves my eyesight and my epidermis of my skin? Or is this carrots and peas? And we had what else did we have the other day? I had I did have a couple of ribs. I would have knocked out some chitlins if I could have found them. But are you looking at chitlins or are you looking at me? Are you looking at the meat I eat, the ribs or the corn, the peas, or are you looking at me? So it has become me, all of the things I have consumed. No longer do I have to tell carrot, go to my eye that you can see. I don't have to tell. It won't return what? Void of its intended purpose. So when I have the word in me, not just in my head, not just in my mouth, when I have in me, I will be able to live it out as a part of my core values. It will become who I am as my personality character. Is that true? So as a good dietitian, and you've seen Coach, can I run a 3-minute mile for those of you who are in fitness? Would you say, I know Coach may be a man of God, but he ain't gonna run a 3-minute mile is he running a 3-minute mile? See, look at y'all voting against me. You do it because you said biologically he's not in alignment. And so those in the spirit can tell, I don't care how much you speak and how much you say, you're spiritually, biologically, you ain't in alignment. Because signs and wonders are to follow. You are to, it's no longer you become a walking epistle of it. You don't have to think, what would God do? It's just who you are. Are y'all there with me yet? And therefore, your life becomes changed not by your power and might. It's not you doing it. Then who's doing it? It's the food you've eaten. So you don't get the glory. It's that, hey, you got to check out this new vitamin over here. I tell you, it gives you strength and power. How many of you are with me for a moment? So we've got to be careful to recognize I am who I eat, and people are watching your diet. That's not what you say. The people that know how to eat and know nutrition, they know by your fruit. And James says, faith without works is dead. And I can tell your faith by your works. Now,